Hey, what's going on? We are back with another video, and I'm hoping that you are enjoying this series so far as we work to get ourselves out of debt. This is the second part of that series, where today we're going to go over how to analyze your debt situation in three. Count them: 1, 2, 3. See how I did that? That was kind of weird, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3, and I went like 1, 2, 3. Anyways, we're going to analyze it in 3 easy steps. So we're on this journey together to get out of debt. Like I said, the first episode is a 4-part series. We're going to walk through all the steps that you need to get yourself out of debt. We're going to take each week to build on the next. So it's important that you watch the previous episodes and you work your way through. Ultimately, the whole thing is going to, when you finish this series, you're going to know and without a shadow of a doubt be able to get yourself out of debt with all the information, tools, strategies, everything you need to get started and make this all happen. So 4-week journey. Make sure that each step you're doing, there's a couple of assignments, especially this week, there's some things that you're going to need to do to follow up and to ensure that all of this is done. So go through and ensure that those pieces are complete. And with that, everything will be lovely. So I'm hoping that you are enjoying the series, and there's a lot more to come. But I'm telling you, if you'll take these critical key steps to get you to where you want to be, you will for sure be out of debt. Keep a good attitude. Trust me, it will happen. So today's series is going to talk all about analyzing your debt situation. 3 crucial steps to do it, so we know just how good or how bad or how ugly or how beautiful your debt situation is, and how we can best attack going through this. So first off, welcome to part 2 of this Get Out of Debt Roadmap series. And let me be upfront with you on this one. This is where you ultimately have to be the most honest with yourself. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to look at. There's a lot of stuff that you're going to have to understand. And ultimately, this is the part, like make or break time, where we actually see if, you know, what this whole thing looks like. And if you're not honest with yourself right here, you could end up with a roadmap that's a little off in the long run. So this is where you have to be honest with yourself. If you listen or watch last week's episode, you've got all the information you need to get that mind right, get prepared for this step right here, because now is the time to take that next step. So this step's going to take you we're going to go through some different research, and me knowing that this series is going to be a powerful one that can truly change your life. I'm going to ask a lot out of you in terms of homework and going through and getting this stuff together. If and only if you identify these in your life and take the actionable steps, will you be out of debt. So identify these crucial steps, identify these crucial debts, identify all this information, and you will be out of debt. I'm telling you. I know it's true. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to be the best thing that's ever happened in your life. So you have to make sure you destroy some habits that got you in debt, or you're only going to work to get yourself out of debt and find yourself right back in it. So I'm telling you, if you'll take action, your life is about to change. With all that being said, are you ready to start the analysis? I am. So let's get to it. So first things first, I want you to know that how you spend your money currently, how you spend your money is almost completely a reflection of habits. You've built habits, you've gone through, you've created these habits. And you may or may not know they exist, but every morning you buy that morning cup of coffee because you bought the morning cup of coffee the day before. You buy the same groceries almost every week because it's comfortable. You shop at the same stores because it's comfortable. You online shop when you're stressed or bored because you previously have, and it makes you feel better, right? And you cause this habit. Everything you do in life is about habits. And the thing is you will continue to spend the rest of your life doing these same habits until you break them. So that's very important. It's very important that we crush these habits up front. Change your habits, change your life. And that couldn't be more true. So today I'm going to go over 3 steps that you can use to analyze your debt situation so that ultimately we can start building out this whole roadmap to becoming debt free. Before I jump into the 3 steps, there's a couple of questions that I want you to answer. And I want you to answer these within yourself. I want you to answer these within your head. Like I preface this whole entire episode is you have to be honest with yourself. Some of these you may not know the answer to, but do the best you can. But my first question is this. Do you spend more than 20% of your take-home pay on debt? That's not including your mortgage, just other debt. Do you spend more than 20% of your take-home pay on debt? Do you miss payments or do you make them late on any bills that you have? Have you overdrawn your checking account more than 3 times in the past year? Do you use debt to pay for debt? And finally, do you have collectors calling you, bugging you, hassling you? I ask these questions because if any of these apply to you, what I want you to know is that the fact is that if you answered yes to any of them, your debt journey is going to be a little bit tougher. Not impossible, just tougher. So it's never an impossible situation. You always have the ability to get out of debt. It may just take a little longer. It may take a little more effort. And that's okay. Because if you watched last week's episode, you know that there's a lot of lessons learned in the fact of getting out of debt. So by doing that, by getting yourself, through these tougher situations, you're going to learn so much along the way that it will be applicable to you for the remainder of your life. So I told you 3 easy steps. So step 1. Step 1 is extremely easy, and it does not take much effort from you except to log on to your computer or phone browser to annualcreditreport.com. I'm going to put the link in the description so that you have exactly what information you need to get here. There's many fraudulent sites out there, so please be wary of that. Don't just start navigating. Oh, where's my free credit reports? So what did he say? Free credit report. And then go to Google free credit report and all of a sudden get this fraudulent site where you're giving them your social and all this stuff. And you're creating a bigger mess for yourself. There's only one annualcreditreport.com. So make sure that you go. There's a multitude of ways to get there. One way that's very, if you don't want to trust my link, I totally understand. What I will say is go to some of the, I think like irs.gov or somebody, maybe somebody, one of the government websites have links to the annual credit report. And you can just navigate to it from one of the .gov sites that are out there. So it's important that you do this, but this is step 1 to analyzing your debt situation. So before we get into the actual analyzation of your debt situation, that's hard to say. Analyzation of your debt situation. We need to see what the credit bureaus have to say about you, and that's where this comes in. That's where this whole annual credit report comes in, and that's how we're going to use it. So we're going to check your credit report for a multitude of reasons, right? There's a ton of reasons why we do it. But first, this allows you a chance to see if there is inaccurate information out there about you currently on your credit report, right? And this could be that there are accounts that show up on your credit report that you don't recognize. This could be accounts reporting the wrong amount that you owe, because you can see how much you owe on some of these accounts. And they could be reporting like that you owe $1 million and you actually only owe $1,000. Like, I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying anything's impossible. So, that's an important piece to look at. There could also be personal information that's misrepresented. And if you catch any of this, don't panic. Not just yet, because there's resources out there to help get these type of things resolved. But the good thing is you checked it, right? So you've gone, it could have gone like lingering on in the past, and the longer it sits there, the harder it can be to get rid of. So it's important that we got here first. We analyzed it, we saw it, we're good to go, we're moving forward. Second thing that seeing your credit report does for you is it allows you to see what lenders see. So if you were a hiring manager, then just think about this, for as an example. But if you were a hiring manager for a business that you managed, and and you were responsible for the decision to take on a new client, a new customer, a new employee, wouldn't you want someone with like a good history, work history, professional reference history, like all of this stuff, right? Lenders are no different in this situation. They want someone that's got a good history. And the good news is you have all the answers to that test. So look at your report and see if you're a good applicant for that mortgage on your home, right? Like this is a surefire way. Annualcreditreport.com. See your credit report and see what your lender profile looks like. What do lenders see when they look at you? Lastly, the third thing is this does give you sort of this like wake up to just how bad your spending history could be. If you have a lot of open accounts, if you have huge balances on those accounts, this should all give you a little bit more sense of purpose to get these things gone and closed. So like I said, it's a matter of when, not if, okay? And they will get gone. I'm telling you, all of these things will get gone. So once you retrieve your report, look at it. So you just simply go to the website. You can do one from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax each year. But once you retrieve your report, go look at it and really look at it. And this maybe will remind you to close some accounts that you didn't even mean to keep open. Like, I mean, this is just a good reminder that everyone should be doing. So like I started with, this is an easy first step. It just takes you a little effort to go and look at your current debt situation. So for step 2, it's quite simple. We just need to compile a list of all of our debt and then the balance that goes with each of those accounts. So if you're looking at the screen, if you're watching this on the live stream, you can see my screen. If you're listening to this on audio, this is a spreadsheet that I built out, and I'll be using it in next week's, the week 3 of the series. But pretty much you just need to write down. You can see I've got personal loan amount $3,000, credit card $2,000, car loan $17,000, student loan $50,000, for a total of $72,000 in debt. So you've looked at your credit report, you've got a pretty clear idea of what open accounts you have, and this may easily not be all the debt that you have. So it's important that you go and you look and you think about it. It could be, a very good insight, some accounts that you forgot about. I mean, can you say, hello, like you forgot about these accounts and they're just sitting on your credit report and you ain't paid them in months. Like, I mean, that credit report does good, but some don't report to the credit bureaus. So while this may just be the list that comes straight off your credit report, you need to write down everything. All right, and the balance that goes with it. So to accomplish this, pretty straightforward. The route that I want you to take is very simple. It can be done electronically, like on the screen here, where you just use Excel or something to just write down the account, the amount, or you can do like a pen and paper type thing, and that's just write down the account on a piece of paper with how much you owe on it. Write down every open account on your credit report, look at previous budgets, and check those budgets, those checking account statements, everything, so that you know that you're not missing one of the debts that you have out there. And then what I want you to do is call, check the website, or mail to get all of your total balances. So you have all these balances, right? You may have to go to your website or a bank statement or call the account manager or whoever, but you need to know what your actual account balance is. And then the next step, and you probably, if you're on the phone with them, you can ask them this, or you can go to your website or mail, or your mailed statement or whatever, but you need to find your minimum monthly payment. You can see that on my screen. Minimum monthly payment for the personal loan is $200. Minimum on the credit card is $25. The car loan minimum payment is $400, and the minimum monthly payment on the student loan is $300. So write all that down. And for this example, we see that our minimum monthly payments add up to $925 using the example on the screen. So You add up all your debt minimum payments so you know exactly how much you owe in debt at a minimum each month. And that's where this comes in, okay? And finally, if you saw an account that had a zero balance and you don't plan on using it, just close it. And I say this with a touch of hesitancy. The reason is, if you're prone to debt, you're much better closing all access to any account that has the ability to go into debt, as that's easier to just close it than to try to tell yourself no when you're trying to use it, right? If you're not prone to debt, you may be able to keep a credit card open and use it responsibly, be honest with yourself and all that. But the reason I like to close unused accounts is the simple fact that I don't really maintain dormant accounts, because if someone did get access to any of those accounts, they could apply a balance to it. And when do I find out? Well, who knows? Maybe when I look at my credit report, but it's easier just to not have the account open, right? So that's one thing. But when you're analyzing your debt situation, it's important, write down all of your accounts, every account that you have debt on, get those totals and the minimum monthly payment that goes with it. So that's what you need, and that's your homework. So you've got it. Like, you need this before next week when we go into step 3 of this Get Out of Debt series. You need that at a minimum. You need to know how much. You need to know all of your debt accounts. You need to know how much is the balance on each, and you need to know the minimum monthly payment before watching the next step in this series. All right, now the final step, step 3. This is the part that's pretty cut and dry, as it really doesn't have anything to do with your debt. It actually has to do with your income. So if you remember me stating at the beginning of the episode that you should not spend more than 20% of your take-home pay, remember I was like, is your debt more than 20% of your take-home pay? Well, we need to know where you stand and put a number on your current debt situation, okay? And what I need you to do before we get to step 3 is ensure that you know all of the income that you receive in a given month, okay? And what I need you to do for step 3 is ensure that you think of all that income and write it down. So the same as we did with your debt account, you may need to look at checking account statements, pay stubs, etc., but you need to add up and get a realistic, accurate picture of what your current take-home pay is, like after taxes, okay? I want you to write down every single line of income that you have, and the same as or put it together. This needs to be on the same, whatever. If you do it electronically for your debt, just put it on the same thing, your income. If you did it on pen and paper, do the same thing with your income. And know that we need to get this accurate picture of what your debt and income look like. And be realistic. This has to be realistic. Don't put this like, well, I might get this much. No. How much do you realistically expect to take home from each income source? Okay. Now that you have that number, take the total that you owe in minimum payments, and you need to divide that by your total income amount. And that should be less than 20%. If it isn't, that's okay. That's why you're watching and listening to this episode and this series. And your situation is, once again, not impossible. It's just going to take some time. It's just going to take some effort. If you look on the screen, here's just some ideas of different types of income. So active income would be those W-2 salary, wages type things, commissions, bonuses, things of that nature. Passive income may be rental income from rental properties, multi-level marketing type stuff, businesses that you own, royalties that are paid out to you. Portfolio income is going to be stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things of that nature. Portfolio income would only be if you're drawing that in on a regular basis. Otherwise, for most people, you're just going to be in that active income where you're drawing a salary or something of that nature. But I wanted to put them all up so that you know all the different income types, so you can really sort of dig in and figure out exactly what income types you have. So to wrap this up, this may be something that could take you a few days to pull together, so that's okay, because you just need this by next week when we do the third part of this series. But get the information that you need, because we're going to use that in the next episode, and we're going to actually start building our Get Out of Debt roadmap. So That's great news, right? So you have 7 days to do all these things, to get all your debts wrote down, the account balances, the minimum payments, and all your income. And this will give you a good analysis of your debt situation. When you do that percentage and you see what percent of your take-home pay is going to debt, being under 20% is a great number. So that gives you a good idea of where you stand. And so now for my encouraging closing thoughts, so you don't end up like the guy in the picture right here that's carrying a tub on his back full of debt. These numbers and debt totals and all that could have been very difficult to look at. And they can be very triggering to sort of think about. It may bring some anxiety, some stress. All of those emotions are okay, but do not worry, all right? These next few steps that we're going to go through are going to help ease that anxiety and that stress, and you're going to see how you can make positive moves forward in your debt situation. So these are steps that are looking at all this stuff is going to be the steps needed to help put this part of life behind you. By facing this reality of your current situation, it just helps make it, real. So if you do start feeling this like ball and chain type of feeling that the debt brings with it, this like pain and anxiety, stress, just remember that you're going to move past that. So don't let it get the best of you. Don't think much about it right now. Just know that you are, by watching this, by listening to this, by taking all these actions, you are taking the steps needed to get yourself past debt. So the great news is you never have to go at debt alone. You always have your friend, your family, and your coworkers cheering you on. And I mean, they probably have debt too. So being able to talk to someone about it is great. But if you do need that extra personal touch to help push you along, you can always go to my website, fill out the contact form at thefinancialmirror.org/contact. And you can work with me as your personal financial coach. I'll encourage you, motivate you, and give you the tools and attention that you need to make it through this whole debt journey. And the best part is you'll never feel alone. I'll be there with you every step of the way. We will overcome every challenge that you face, adjusting your plan when we have to based on your current situation. Go to thefinancialmirror.org/contact, fill out the form, and I will be in touch with you. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe, comment, like the channel. Share it with your friends and family, coworkers, anyone that you know that could use this additional touch of getting out of debt, a little push along to help push that needle toward living a life financially free. Thanks for tuning in this week. I'll see you next week as we continue this Get Out of Debt series. Until then, peace.